everyone, it's Bethany and welcome to day 7 of my Cricut craft gift guide. I really am excited to see this project because this project I have been wanting to do for quite some time because I love doing picture frames and finding new ways to personalize them, and I think this is going to turn out really beautiful, so I'm really excited to inspire you with this look today. So what we're going to be creating for day 7 is we are going to be doing a really fun picture frame with an overlay on top with vinyl. So I have this picture frame that I believe I purchased from Target, and I'll be sure to link all of the materials that I used in the description box below the video, but it came in the natural wood, and then what I did was I applied a couple coats of my favorite chalk paint to it. Again, that will be linked in the description box below as well, and then I sanded it with an electric sander to be sure that I smoothed out all the paint strokes, as well as I love to add a little distressed finish to the edges. I think it always looks really nice. For vinyl, we're going to be using this really pretty vinyl. I believe it's a Christmas, it's from a Christmas pattern pack. I'll be sure to link it, and it comes in iron-on as well, but it's really, really pretty, and I think this is gonna look really, really neat on this particular project. But it has almost a watercolor look, and it's also an ombre effect as well, but I think it's going to look really, really pretty. So I'm going to be using this, and then I'm going to use some scissors, a weeding tool, scraper tool. I have some clear transfer tape. I would recommend something a little bit more clear in terms of transfer tape. I'm not sure what everyone else loves, but I love this clear grid line transfer tape, and it's very, very awesome for working with projects where you really need to see your project beneath your vinyl. So I'll show you that a little bit later, but a clear transfer tape will work a little bit better than something that is frosted or something like that. And then also I have a measuring tape and a brayer tool just in case. So I've been rotating my machines in and out throughout this gift guide. Today we're going to be using the Cricut Explore Air 2. You can honestly do this on any machine. Probably for this size, it's going to be easiest to do it on one of the bigger machines because our design is going to be bigger, but of course there are ways that you could slice this design apart and do it in smaller portions for the joy if you wish to do so. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do before hopping into Design Space is I'm going to grab the measurements for my frame. So I have 8.75. I'm measuring the outer sides first. 8.75 by just about, let's see, 10.75. So I'm going to write that down. Okay, so that was my first measurement. I'm also going to take a second measurement of the inside of the frame. So the inside of my frame is about 4.75 by 6.75. Okay, so I have both of those measurements written down, and now we're going to do our question of the day real quick and then hop into Design Space. So if you're new here, we do a little question of the day just to have some fun with answering a random question in the comment section while I'm crafting, so be sure to join in. So today we are answering, what was your proudest moment in crafting? I love hearing these stories because sometimes there are more frustrations than proud moments when it comes to crafting, but we always remember those really good moments too, where we finally did a perfect job or something turned out even better than we wished. So I hope that you have had one of those, and if not, I hope that some of my tutorials have helped you and encouraged you to have one of those really soon. Okay, we are going to hop into Cricut Design Space. As always, be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you are enjoying this 15-day Cricut Craft Gift Guide series. It's been so fun to create this, you guys. I'm really enjoying it. And also be sure to share this video so that you can inspire somebody else with how to create a wonderful picture frame with their Cricut as a gift for this year. Okay, so to create our frame, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go over to images and find an overlay. So I'm going to go into images. It's just this fourth button over on the left side, and I am going to search for overlay. So I'm going to type that into the search engine, and then I'm just going to browse through some of the options that I have. And there are so many fun options. In fact, I did a whole tutorial on infusible ink coasters with overlays, so it's really, really fun. So I'll link that for you in case you want to be inspired with another way to use overlays. But I'm going to use this right here. I okay, it's called Connecting Circles Overlay. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to say Insert Images. So now what I'm going to do is, let me make this a little bigger, but I am going to unlock this and I am going to size this for the outside measurements that I measured for my frame. So that was a width of 8.75 and a height of 10.75. So just like this. Okay, now I need to size that down a little bit. Okay, that's perfect. So that is the size of our frame along the edge here. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to take a shape. I'm going to come over here to the shapes and I'm going to select the square. Then I'm going to unlock it, and this measurement is going to be the inside frame measurement that I measured and wrote down. So I'm going to come up here to my width and I'm going to say 4.75. Perfect. And then I am going to say for my height 6.75. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this and then I am going to duplicate this and just set this to the side. I'm going to then bring over my little rectangle right here and I am going to take both my overlay and my inner rectangle and I am going to come up and say align and I'm going to say center, and that's going to make sure that that rectangle is completely centered on this. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to take both of them and I am going to slice. Okay, so now I can remove my slice results and I can delete them. And then I have my frame right here. So this is my frame. This is where the photo goes. But now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I have a nice clean edge on the inside as well. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grab an additional rectangle, which is a square over here. And then I'm going to make this a different color. So let's make this pink. And then I'm going to bring this over here and I'm going to create an outline that I can use here. Okay, so I am going to make it just like this, highlight both, and I'm just replicating and eyeballing what this outline looks and just kind of recreating it over here. Highlight both and then align, center, and then with them both selected, slice. Okay, remove the slice results, delete them. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to bring this in here, but I don't want to just set it in the middle here because remember, this outer edge is where my measurement is. That's where, that is what I measured. So I don't want to put this right in the middle and make that opening even smaller. So what I'm going to do is I am going to unlock this. I'm going to bring this in here. And then I am going to just stretch it over that area. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. Let me now send this to the front. Do you see how it is just kind of healing the edges there? I need to drag this out a little bit more. So I'm going to grab this, send this back to the front. And I'm going to drag it out just a little bit more. Oh, that's a little too far. Okay. Send this to the front again. Okay, so that looks really, really nice. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to highlight both of these. And again, I made sure that I was not adding any inches or any type of measurement to the inside. I wasn't making that opening any smaller. I just want to add a little border here. But I'm going to select both of them now, and then I'm going to say weld. Okay, so now I have a really, really nice, really clean looking frame here. And I think it looks really, really sweet. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to click my Explore. Okay, and then I'm going to say Make It. Okay, so this is all set. I'm going to go ahead and click Continue. I'm going to browse all materials, and for
vinyl, I'm just going to go all the way down to vinyl. I'm going to select premium vinyl. Okay, click done. We're going to load our mat and get cut.
Okay, so I have my vinyl on my mat, and I'm just going to take my brayer tool and make sure it is really pressed down and there are no bubbles. So that looks really good. Now, with this pattern, when you're working with a pattern, you want to be mindful of the direction of the pattern. So I know that my frame is going to cut, just imagine, the design of my frame is going to cut this way. And I think it will look cool if my design is you know, it taking on that ombre effect up and down. So that's why I placed my material on the mat this way, so that it would cut in that direction. And in fact, I may go into design space and I'll move around my design so that it cuts farther down on the mat as well.
Okay, so in design space over here, I'm just going to come over to the mat and select edit, and then I'm just going to move this down a little bit, and that's going to allow me just to use some more of the pattern that is on the bottom. So it's just going to cut, it's telling me where I want this to be cut out on the actual mat, and therefore the pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and select done, and then we'll go ahead and load our mat.
Okay, so now I will go ahead and load my mat, and I will get it all cut out. So flashing arrows to load the mat, and then flashing Cricut button to start the cut. Okay, so I have my removable vinyl here, and what I'm going to do is in the center of my vinyl, there is a hollow area that was not cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my True Control knife and I'm just going to cut out that extra vinyl because I don't want to waste it. I think this is super pretty and I only have 2 sheets of it, so I want to make sure that I save as much as I can. So before weeding, I'm just going to go through and cut out my extras. Okay, so now I can save this little middle piece, and that's a very decent size scrap piece to use on a different project. So I'm going to go ahead and save that in my scrap bin, and now I can start weeding. So I'm going to go ahead, grab my weeding tool here, and then I'm going to pierce the top and start taking away all of the pieces that I do not need. So I got the outer edge, and then this inner edge. Okay. And then I can go through, and it's going to be a little hard to see, but I'm going to go through and take out all of these little pieces from my little overlay design. So I'm going to start weeding that. I'm not sure that you'll get to see too much from this lighter color portion, but I'll let you see a little bit more of the darker towards the bottom in just a second. Okay, so I am just continuing to weed out these pieces. It's actually weeding so easily. So today's question was about one of our proudest crafting moments, and I have a couple, but I think my proudest moment was recently when I was doing infusible ink and layering it for the first time. So layering is as in using multiple colors of infusible ink, and if you have worked with infusible ink, you'll know that it looks very different when you want to use multiple colors than it does when working with vinyl or iron-on, because you have to press all of the colors at the same time. You can't press them in layers. So I was working with a pretty complex design and I wasn't sure how to do it because you have to get all the colors down on one layer at the same time, and obviously it's my favorite thing to do is to pick the most complex thing possible. It's one of my hidden talents. So the design I had was super complicated and I was filming, and all of a sudden I thought of a way to use my Cricut pen to create a template for layering infusible ink and getting everything lined up perfectly. So I think that was my proudest moment because not only did it work really, really well, but it gave me some confidence that you know, I can do hard things, and I don't know, it just really helped build my confidence that I could use this method repeatedly, and it made me feel a little bit better about approaching infusible ink. So I hope to inspire you guys with stuff like that too. So I can't wait to read what you guys have to say about your proudest moments as well. So this is completely finished. It looks awesome. I think I have all my pieces, but I'm going to double check and make sure. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my clear transfer tape. And again, I was mentioning that clear would be the best option for this particular project because we're really going to be centering under or onto our frame, and we want to be able to see through our transfer tape as much as we can to help with that centering part of the process. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my transfer tape off here and bend it back. That way I can put it on in sections. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. And I'm going to try to put this on as straight as possible, just like this. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it this way and move a couple things out of the way. I am going to take this under part here and just pull it, and then it releases that transfer tape to lay down on top of my vinyl there. And I just about have that perfectly lined up with the grid lines. That was really lucky. Okay, so now I'm going to take my scraper and I'm going to really press down. Okay, making sure I don't have any bubbles in there. I'm just helping, the scraping helps the vinyl meet the transfer tape because the transfer tape is what is going to peel up that vinyl from the cutting sheet and help us place it on our project. So now I'm going to turn it around, and I like to personally do the back as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do the back, just like this. Okay. Now, with it still placed face down, I'm going to grab a corner and peel away the back cutting sheet. Okay, now you can really see that overlay. Look, that is so pretty. Okay, and now I can really see if I missed any spots, and I do not think I did. I think it all looks great. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my frame in, and I'm going to try not to stress about this part. Okay, so I am going to be super careful, and I'm going to start with the top, and I'm just going to kind of drag and place. This is going to be a tad tricky, I'm not going to lie, but I think it's going to be worth it. Which way does my, okay, so my frame goes this way, and I actually want this to be the bottom. I want the ombre to go down, so hold on. Okay, sorry, I want to make sure I get this right because, okay, I want to go this way. So I'm going to line this top part up. Everybody hold their breath. It's going to be okay. It might even be easier to line the middle. I can see it through. I can see through right here. And it's almost easier to line the middle up, honestly. But do whatever makes you feel the most confident. Okay. Okay. I feel like I have the bottom really good. Make sure I get the top really good. Okay. The bottom is golden, so I'm just making sure this is pulled really tight. And lay that down. Just like that. Okay. That was not as hard as I thought. Okay, so now I'm going to take my scraper and I'm going to just really press that vinyl down. Now, this is a removable vinyl, so I know I'm probably going to get questions about that. I am totally fine with putting this on a project like this because this is not something that's going to get wet, or I would hope not, and it's not something like a coffee mug, so I personally think this is a really good project for removable vinyl. Honestly, it's got enough stick, it's going to stay on there, so I would not be stressed about that at all. So I'm just making sure I don't have any bubbles. And there we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a corner and I'm just going to peel away. That looks amazing. Oh my gosh, it's lined up so well. Okay, so I'm going to pull this away. I love the colors in this. Couple bubbles there, but I can work them out with my finger in a minute. And I'm definitely going to save this transfer tape, so I'm going to put this to the side for a second, and I'm going to grab my sheet that my transfer tape was on, and I'm going to place it right back on there so I can reuse it. Okay, so I can set that aside. Okay, a couple spots with bubbles, so I'm just going to rub those out with my finger and easily remove them. Okay, that looks so neat. So very, very easy way to use some vinyl, a really affordable picture frame, a little bit of paint, and then you can transform it and make it really, really pretty. I love how this turned out. I love how it's so multicolored too, because it gives it such a neat effect. So this also does come with the backing and everything, so I just will need to place my picture in there and put the back right back on, and then it will be good to go. So just scraping down a couple of those little bubbles, pop them out, and it is good to go. Checking to see if I have any more. Looks good. Okay, there it is. I love how this turned out. I've been wanting to do this for such a long time. Well, at least through the summer. So I'm glad that I got to finally cross this off my list. This is really cute. All right, everyone, if you found this helpful and if you think it turned out beautiful and if you're just plain enjoying the gift guide, please be sure to give this a thumbs up. Be sure to share the video to inspire someone else with how to create this. And I will see you guys all in the next video.